Alright guys, welcome back to the second part of the high grade Reborns Gundam review. In this video you guys will see a transformation. I'm going to be talking about the Reborns cannon itself and a more evaluated final thoughts on the model kit and just the model kit as a whole. So just one quick look at Reborns Gundam one last time before I go ahead and transform him. Quick 360. And also, if you haven't already checked out the first part of this review, go ahead and click on Reborns Gundam as I give him one last shot. Just go ahead and click on Reborns Gundam. It should take you to a video to the first part of this review. So, a couple of quick things. I went ahead and fixed both polycaps. This one was fine, but I just went ahead and found both two spare polycap and replaced them. So now he's all new. Also, I had a little problem with the leg. Something in there broke, so of course I had to fix that and make sure that that was all fine. And it's good to say that he basically feels a little bit newer than he looked like in the first part of the review. You can see his legs are a little wobbly and everything. He's fine now. So there you have it. I'm just gonna go ahead and start transforming this guy. The transformation is actually pretty simple, but I'm gonna take my time and kind of point out some of the key features, some of the more better parts of the engineering of this model kit. And this kit's got quite a lot of good engineering in it, especially with the transformation. I gotta say, this is one of those high grade kits that it was at the point where high grades are kind of becoming master grades. This is definitely one of those kits that fall under that category. So go ahead and transform this guy. Just detach his accessories and just set him off to the side. Oops, not the kit's fault. It's not back heavy. It's just how I have him standing. I'll go ahead and pop off his wrists, and you're going to replace those with the claws later on. But I think for now I'm going to go ahead and start off with the legs, since they're probably the cooler part of the model kit. So quick explanation of how everything's going to work here. This yellow piece here, when you bend the knee backwards, it's going to go up against this area here, and this yellow piece, as you push it in, there's a white piece attached in here, somewhere around here, which will, as you push the leg in, it'll wedge these two apart, and you can see it's already happening. It'll wedge these two pieces apart, and there you have it. It's a cool transformation. It's kind of this automorph thing. So for those of you who are familiar with Transformers, it's kind of this neat automorph feature. So there you go. And you gotta have the leg squat like that for Reborn's cannon mode. So we'll leave it that way. You do the same thing here, and for some reason it's not as fluid. So I'm just gonna stop it there because I feel like I'm gonna break it. Take the feet and fold them out, flip them out, and make him look like he's popping a squat. All right, and that's how you're supposed to have the legs positioned. Now the arms, this gets confusing when you read the manual, but it really isn't all that confusing at all. So you take these arms here and you kind of push them forward. As you can see, it brings the arms out in there, and because it uses the same Sengoku kind of polycap ball joint system in there, except it's kind of backwards, kind of reverse engineered there. So that way Reborn's cannon can have a little bit more arm articulation. Then next you want to rotate at the bicep, rotate at the forearm from the yellow piece, or at the yellow piece, and then rotate at the forearm on the white piece. You can go ahead and take one of the claws here. And that's actually a cool feature about the claws. I don't think it's in the manual, and I'm not sure if anyone else has showed it in any other video review. Maybe, I'm not sure, but I'll show you guys in a second. And then you want to bring the shoulder pads down. There's a certain way I like to have the Reborn's cannon transformed, and I'll show you guys later on after I show you guys how he's supposed to look like. Do the same thing on this side. Rotate, rotate, flip. So it's actually real easy. The manual just kind of made it seem a little confusing, but it's easier than it looks. It's a lot easier than it seems. And flip that down. Now you go ahead, and the body should already be kind of bending forward. That's how it should be. And then if this isn't already closed, you just go ahead and close that and kind of tuck it down. With these, I'll just go ahead and work with these now. Tuck the beam saber handles in. This part here doesn't really matter, but I'm just gonna display it this way anyway. So you just rotate the I think they're called the fin fangs, large fin fangs, something or the other. I don't care. They're all the same weapons. And that's that. Sorry, I'm a little kind of OCDing right now. And one last other cool feature about this transformation is these heads are kind of attached on a single gray piece, which are on two ball joints, one for the Gundam head and one for the cannon head. And there's a cavity in the chest, so once you push down on the Gundam head, it brings the cannon head up. So just go ahead and watch that. If it happens. Oh, you know what? And it doesn't happen unless these arms are wedged outward. That's why it has you do that, because it's part of the transformation. It's not just to give the Reborn's cannon a little bit more articulation, but you have to do that. So before you can actually get that cavity in there, you have to make sure that these arms are wedged out all the way. So now you can push the head in, and you see how the head just kind of switched up, and then you can tuck the Gundam head in. That conceals the head a little better. Then now you have the cannon head a little bit out on its own single ball joint, and it wiggles a little bit. Not too much articulation there, but just enough for it to give it a little bit of expression. And there you have Reborn's cannon, basically. So he's got moving legs. The knees can not bend as far as they can in Gundam mode, because the yellow piece here is kind of blocking the way. The feet are pretty much the same. You still get a little bit of waist articulation there. Same articulation for the weapon system here. The arms are a little more T-Rex like, but you still get a good amount of articulation there. And like I said, a little bit of wiggle on the cannon head. And it's a clear piece right there, and you can either paint the detail underneath that or use a sticker. I went ahead and used the foil sticker because I thought it looked cool. So there you go. And then you can just go ahead and arm him up. Flip the this red piece like that. You can adjust this however you want it. And just go ahead and attach it onto, you basically just attach them onto the arms that they were attached onto earlier, except backwards. Or positioned backwards, rather. And if it's up to you if you want the shield on the other side and the rifle on the other side. It's all playability. It's the one thing I like about transforming mobile suits or Transformers in general, because you get that playability of doing whatever you want to do. So there you go. So let's do a size comparison just for the hell of it. Bring out old Gundam again. So they're kind of sort of the same height, and it's only because his legs are a little squat. So there you have it. I'm gonna show you guys how I like to have him positioned. I guess with the beam saber handles, I want to just bring him up a little bit more like that, so he's got more of an edgy look. I bring the shoulder pads up for the same reason, more edgy look, and I think he just looks more badass that way. And then for the legs, basically just straight up, so he's got a little bit more height, and that way he looks a little bit more like his the gun cannon, the mobile suit that he's based off of, basically. And there you go. And then size comparison again. They seem to be the same height from the head. Well, actually they are. It's only because this guy's a little closer. So from the top of their heads, they're the same height. And I think that's better. It just looks more imposing this way. Personally, it's up to you guys how you want to pose your Reborn's cannon. But this is how I like to pose them. And that one feature that I wanted to point out, it has to do with the beam saber handles. I was always wondering why the beam saber handles had these pegs on the side, and it doesn't show in the manual, I don't believe. And I'm not sure if anyone else who's reviewed this kit has actually shared it, but you can take the beam saber handles. And I was thinking about the anime when I was thinking about this feature. When Reborns Gundam actually first used his beam sabers, he was still in Reborn's cannon mode before he used the beam sabers. He slashed at the 00 riser, then transformed. And I was wondering, can you reenact that? Turns out, yeah, you can. There's this peg here on the beam saber handles that fits perfectly into these gaps, into the into the gaps of the little claws there, and then you can, and it holds it really, really well. Like, I think it was meant to do that. Actually, it just wasn't a shown feature on the manual. Then you take the beam saber handle, and there you go. Now he looks a lot better. He looks a lot more armed. So let me bring up the camera a little bit. So there you have it. It looks really good. I like the way that looks. I really do. So I guess for my final thoughts on this kit, if you haven't already built this kit before, if you just don't have it at all, I think it's definitely worth the time and effort spent on this model kit. It's a great experience. Like, you got a whole lot of different things to work around with. Like, it's a transforming model kit. It's a transforming mobile suit. Um, and typically you'd expect a little bit of instability with that, but in fact, the transformation is actually very fluid. It's actually very easy. It's very well integrated. Um, there's really no problem with this model kit that I can find. Except you got to be careful with the whole transforming idea, like especially right here in the legs. Be careful with that, and I'm only saying that because I broke it. So I mean, if I can break it, then maybe someone else can. So there's just a little bit of a warning there. And just overall, the build is it like, I guess the simplest way I can put it is it's a very different experience, and it's just worth checking out. If you're a fan of the Double O high grades, if you don't already have a Reborns Gundam, then you should pick it up. It's actually a really nice build. Painting and everything, it's a whole different experience. It's not where you have to find, red, white, blue, yellow, gray, and whatever else is in typical Gundam colors. You have to find red, white, no blue at all, I think. We got, well, clear purple. You got to get this, kind of off yellow, kind of pale yellow. And it's just a whole different experience. It kind of throws you off, but in a good way. So you're building like Gundam, Double O, and all these other things, and all of a sudden you come across Reborns Gundam, and you're like, whoa, what do I do here? But it's not to a point where you don't know what to do here. It's like, what do I do? I can do this kind of thing. And once everything's all done, I think you'll be proud of what you achieved with this model kit. So that's my final thoughts on this. That's my fully evaluated final thoughts on this model kit as a whole. It's definitely worth checking it out, and it's definitely worth the time you spend on this model kit, no matter what you do to it. So there you have it. That's my review for the high grade Reborns Gundam. Hope you guys enjoyed and got something out of it. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.